Shalom. Kal halalim la Yahweh Eloheinu wa Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops of Great Millstone, and shalom to the prophets of Great Millstone, as well as affiliate camps that are part of the body that teach the scattered sheep across the planet that are scattered to the four corners of the earth, pursuant to Deuteronomy 28:54 and Isaiah 11:11 and Isaiah 11:12. Shalom. So I'm going to go into having more than one wife. Okay? In this evil world that we live in, because Esau, the so-called white man, calls evil good and good evil, everything that's righteous symbols, he's made evil. For example, the rainbow, he's used it for the sodomite thing. Okay? And the rainbow was a symbol that the Lord would never flood the earth again. And that's a beautiful symbol, but Esau has plagued that symbol. Okay? And a lot of ninja women, no matter what package they come in, or women in general, have an issue with a man having more than one woman. But they're okay with their son or praying for their son to be a sodomite. They're okay with sodomites running rampant, with men wearing women's clothes. They're okay with that shit. Okay, or with that ish. Pardon my French. Right? They're okay with that. They're okay with the filth in this world. They're okay with teaching their daughters how to twerk. Okay? They're okay with their daughters dressing in a filthy way, in a provocative way. Okay? But because it's so westernized and been destroyed so badly by the so-called white man, okay? Because having one woman, having one wife is a Roman Edomite thing, okay? Right? Because Edomites, the so-called white man, is a sodomite by nature anyway. Okay, they kiss their dogs in the mouth, they sleep with their dogs in the same bed, They like to watch their wives get dealt by other men. They get off on that. That's their nature. They're underpopulated because they don't really have sex with the women. They don't really like women. Okay, but yet they're the hunk of the earth because they've put themselves up as as all the important men in the scriptures, because pursuant to the book of Maccabees, they've painted the likeness of their images. They've so-called whitewashed everything. Okay, so a lot of you ninja women, no matter what package you come in, that are with the so-called white man, because you think that he's a hunk of the earth, you're going to have a sad or wake-up call when that day comes. Okay, you're going to be deleted, right? And Jake, by nature, and if you watch the old 70s movies, the so-called black exploitation ones, all across the tribes, okay? Me being an Israelite foreigner, even my uncle, who lives in East Africa, he's got an Israelite foreigner wife, okay, from India, and then also he's got so-called what I believe East African wives, African Hamite wives as well. They could be Israelite women, I'm not sure, but they look like Hamite women. Attractive Hamite women. So they could be Jake. I don't know. Right? He's got more than he's got children in numerous situations. Okay, and a lot of my uncles, a lot of my cousins, they've all had numerous women at the same time. Edomite women, East Indian women, Israelite foreigner women. Some of them dealt with so-called black women. Me being an Israelite foreigner myself, I've done the same thing as well. But when one woman finds out about the other woman, they don't like it. They don't like it because in this world it's demonized. Okay, you can only have one wife. Okay, and it's been demonized. And obviously on this side you can't really even earn enough money unless you're a multi-millionaire to even take care of multiple wives. So all things are lawful, okay, but they're not expedient on this side. So if your Lord has blessed you with enough money to take care of 2 or 3 women, more power to you. Go for it, but do it righteously. Okay, in righteousness, not in the filthy lustful nature. Yeah, you can make love to your woman, but don't get it twisted. Like if you got 2 or 3 wives and I'll say I'm gonna have a threesome and all that kind of ish. No, that's disgusting. All right, we don't play that. That's nonsense. Okay, separate bed chambers for each wife. You deal with your wife accordingly. All right, nobody has to watch. That's between you and your woman. All right. Okay, I just had to add that there because how Jake thinks, oh, you can have more than one woman. I'm gonna have a threesome, yo. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have my other wife watch me deal with my other wife. No, you don't do that. Okay, that's disgusting. All right. But in Eastern practice, because we're from the East, right, we always had more than one wife. Okay, and even concubines, which are lesser wives, women of other nations. The Israelites come out of 4 women. Okay, they don't come out of. Jacob had 4 wives. He had two wives, and he had 2 concubines. Okay, right? So we always had multiple wives. King Solomon had, 1,000 women, okay, 700 Israelite wives and 300 concubines. All right, you mentioned the fact that, okay, King Solomon strayed away because he started, because he strayed away from the Most High because he's worshiping the images. Yeah, he did stray. He did make a mistake. Okay, yeah, he did. But you can have women of other nations, but you're not supposed to build temples for their gods or the idols they pray to. You leave them be to that, especially on this side. But in the kingdom, they won't be doing that. Concubines won't be doing that. They'll be praising the Lord. But obviously, they have to praise the Lord because there's only one power in heaven. Acts 4 and 12. There's only one name under heaven that we must be saved. All right, and you're but at that time, because it wasn't the kingdom, and if you do have women of other nations, you don't teach them the truth. You just let them deal with whatever nonsense that they celebrate their birthday. Okay, leave them to it. They celebrate Christmas, leave them to it. You know what I mean? You don't get involved in all that. They're there to take care of your needs physically and maybe have a little conversation, but you don't pillow talk with them. Okay, King Solomon went off by building temples and worshiping their idols. That's where he went off. That's the only thing he did wrong. Okay, but he did not do wrong by having multiple wives, 1,000 women, and all of them virgins and all of them fine as wine. Okay, okay, the scriptures allow that. How do you think we're going to be a numerous nation? Okay, even in this flesh that we have, as Israelite men, we have a humongous sexual appetite. Okay, 3, 4 times a day, we need that release sometimes. Okay, and how are we going to do that? We're having one woman. We deal with you so heavily sometimes. Part of my French, sometimes a woman's cavity area gets swollen up because of the constant penetration. And then sometimes she could be on her monthly. What are we supposed to do? That's where having another woman comes into play. Okay? Then when a woman has a baby, okay, in the ancient world, right, you're not supposed to touch her for a certain period of time. Okay? You're not supposed to touch her for a couple of months. Okay? When she has a baby. So what are you supposed to do? A man is supposed to just have blue balls for 3, 4 months or several weeks until he can touch his woman again after a baby. That's where other wives come in. Okay, you women don't think in the Eastern way because you've been westernized by the so-called white man, the Esau. Okay, scriptures say you can have other wives. You can have other wives. And some of you dumb jakes also say that you're supposed to marry within your tribe. You're not supposed to marry within your tribe. If you're supposed to marry within your tribe, that was only done for what we call passing down of wealth. You know, um, so it stays within the family. That's the only reason. You understand? That was the only reason. Okay, but you can marry an Israelite woman from any nation. A Judite wants to marry an Ephraimite, absolutely. If an Ephraimite wants to marry a Judite or a Benjamite or Issacharite, of course you can. We do that now, and we're going to do that more in the kingdom. Okay, let's go to Exodus 21 and 10. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. Which means that he'll take care of her food, he'll take care of her clothing and things of that nature, everything that she needs. Let me just get the correct. I need to set Google up as a default. Oh, I haven't done that yet. One second. Raiment. Raiment meaning. Raiment meaning clothing. Yeah. So let's go here again. Exodus 21 and 10. If you take him another wife, if you take another woman, right? Her food, her clothing, and her duty of marriage. What's the duty of marriage? Making love to your wife. You can't say I'm tired and she wants some, right? And you got a couple of wives and you dealt with one that day and she wants some too. You got to shower up, wash up, whatever, take a bath and deal with her. You can't just say, "Oh, baby, I'm not too, I'm too tired." You're gonna make her commit adultery, God forbid. These things happen. That's why you got to make sure, especially in this flesh, if you can have you got more than one woman, you got to make sure that you got that health as well to take care of one woman, okay? Because a woman is flesh and blood also, and she has needs. So Exodus 21:10 again. If you take him another wife, her food, her clothing, and her duty of marriage, okay, which is a sex part, shall he not diminish? You're supposed to maintain everything if you take on another woman. All right. Let's go to 1 Kings 1:11. It's about King Solomon. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with a daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, so-called Chinese women, Japanese women, Ammonites, Edomites, okay, so-called white women. And Edomite women are fine. A lot of them are taking care of themselves, looking great. Ammonite, Japanese women too, Chinese women, Zidonians, and Hittites. Okay, let me just find out who the Zidonians. I believe them so-called Middle Eastern people, or maybe Hamites. One second, Zidonian people. Who are they? Phoenicians. Phoenicians. What are Zidonians today? I believe they're Hamitic Zidonian people today. And obviously, King Solomon had all beautiful wives, and there's no way they were ugly women. That's for sure. Lebanon. Okay, I mean at that time, the Lebanon area, okay, would be more than likely Hamite, as well as so-called Middle Eastern looking type women, and from what they call West Asia, or the so-called Middle East, and Hittites. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, he had women of other nations. Okay, but King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. Turkey and Mesopotamia. Okay, I mean at that time they were like obviously more darker, but today they've lightened up. Because remember Alexander the Greek went around pillaging. That's why you got these fine looking so-called Middle Eastern looking women. The Middle Eastern women are gorgeous. Beautiful women. You know. So basically, the women of other nations that were fine. All right. Of the nations concerning which the Lord Yahweh Shemeshah said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall not go in to them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they shall turn away your heart after their gods. Okay, meaning that, okay, the Lord said, don't deal with them. If you do, because Israel, Israelite men as a whole, we're very romantic. We sometimes care too much more than we should. We're supposed to just have that sort of blasé nature with them. You're supposed to have the woman love you more. And what it is with Jake, Jake always tries to please the woman. And what does Jake do? You sometimes that's why you got a lot of Jake today. A lot of Benjamites marrying East Indian women or Pakistani women or Middle Eastern women or even Hispanic women that have converted to Islam. And what does Jake do? He converts to Islam. Or even if he marries a so-called black woman or a Somalian girl, for example, he converts to Islam. There was a Benjamin guy on my road years ago. He met this beautiful, beautiful, fine-looking Somalian girl, right? Hamite chick, right? And he was a so-called Christian and all that, real cool Benjamin Jake with the accent and all that, right? And I used to, shoot the shit with him now and again. He moved out. I told him he was an Israelite, right? And then by then he met this girl, and the girl convinced him he become a Muslim. He started wearing that breakfast bowl on his head and everything. See, that's what Jake usually does. This is the reason why the Lord knew, because this was already uh, our story where, okay, the Lord's going to give you these women, but you're going to turn away from uh, our power, and we're going to start worshiping their idols and gods. Okay, so this was a learning curve where, okay, if you can deal with other women of other nations, fair enough, deal with them, but don't worship their idols. Okay, but having other women, of course you can. Okay, we've done it before, and we'll do it again, and we're going to do it in the kingdom. Okay, Esau had our women on this side. We're not going to have them in subjection. Are you kidding me? Okay, of the nations concerning with which the Lord Yahweh Shemashah, and plus, according to you need to know, as Apostle Gabar would say, you need to know the history to know the mystery. With the scriptures, as time went by over thousands of years, okay, the Lord allowed certain things, and with time, certain things have evolved and changed. Okay, before we had to keep the Lord to the perfection. To the perfection. You made a one rule, a one step wrong. You even picked up a broom on the Shabbat. The Lord would just delete you on the spot. But now the Lord is having mercy on us. Why? Because Yahweh Shai went on the cross for us and went through all the atrocities he went through to redeem us back. Yahweh Shai is our mediator. That's why sometimes on the Shabbat you may have to work. The Lord ain't killing us or deleting us because the Lord is merciful. All right? We have to learn the positive and the negative on this side, in this flesh, in the chains of darkness before we get into the kingdom. So we know what's righteous and what's not righteous. Okay? How can we appreciate goodness? How can we appreciate righteousness if we don't know evil? Genesis 3:22, right? Okay. Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. Okay, King Solomon, loved all his wives, all thousand of them. So a concubine is still your wife, but see, she's a lesser wife. Okay, you can't do this ninja shit of like saying, oh, I can't have none of the homies, whatever that saying is. Ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. No, you don't do no trisne. Like these dumbass TS Jakes would say. Ephraim, Big Pun and all, Fat Joe and all that. None of none of that weird shit. Okay, all right. You're not supposed to do stuff like that. A concubine is yours. She's your lesser wife. You treat her like a wife. Okay, not you don't give her the, like she's not gonna be like sitting in power, of course, but she will just be there. She would be yours at your beck and call. Okay, she'll be your servant. All right. She'll just be a kept woman, you know. Solomon clave unto these in love. Okay. And he had 700 wives, okay, King Solomon, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. To what? The idols. Okay. Right? The Lord wasn't mad at him having more than one wife. No, not at all. The Lord was mad at him for having praying to their idols. That's what the issue was. Okay, verse 4: For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. The Lord didn't say, King Solomon can't have wives, extra women, or women of other nations. He only said it. Why? Because women of other nations worship different gods. Like today, you could have like an Edomite woman. She'd be worshiping Caesar Borgia, or not worshiping nobody, or she could be a witch on a low level. Or you could have an East Indian girl. She could be a Hindu or a Muslim, or or a Middle Eastern chick. She could be Muslim, or one of them Zoroastrian people. Okay, you could have a Moabite woman. She's a Buddhist. You're not supposed to follow that nonsense. You leave them to it, especially on this side, okay? And you deal with them accordingly. They're just there for your physical needs and maybe a little bit of a conversation, or you go out with them here and there, and that's it. You leave it there. You don't follow, baby, let's go worship Buddha together. No. Oh, baby, it's Christmas time. Let's go to the church together. All that BS. No, you're not supposed to do all that. You leave the heathen women to that. Okay, and if you're dealing with Israelite women, multiple ones of them, if you want to teach them the truth, it's up to you. Okay, but you leave them to it as well, because most women on this side are going to be wicked unless the Lord will pull out a select few. Okay, and King Solomon had 1,000 wives, and he didn't find not one righteous, and he knew women, and this is the ancient world where women are supposed to be better. Okay, and all his wives were virgins. None of them had a man before. They're all his. Okay, he was the only one who saw them in their glory, as they say, butt naked. All right, no other man touched them or looked at them naked, even saw their cleavage. All right. So verse 4, for it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yashai, his power, as was the heart of David his father. Okay? Because King David is a man after the Most High's heart, man. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. Okay? Zidonians, so-called Middle Eastern or Hamitic women, and Ammonites, Japanese women. Okay, I'm not too sure on the Zidonians. I need to get a correction on possibly who these are today ethnically. Okay, but they were like, obviously he's worshipping the god. It's a goddess as well, and there's no such thing as a goddess. Okay, and Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. Ammonites for sure are the Japanese people. Verse 6, and Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yashai, and went not fully after the Lord, as did David his father. Okay, and King Solomon had had 40 years of peace, man. You know, King David, I believe, fought 40 years of war, and King Solomon had 40 years of peace. So there's a balance. Okay, even King David, who is uh, a man after the Lord's heart, he had many wives, he had many concubines. The only thing wicked he did was when he went after another woman. Okay, I think it was Bathsheba. Yeah, Bathsheba, where uh, he wanted her because she was so fine and so built. He wanted her, and somehow he saw her butt naked. Saw her in her glory, and what he did was during battle he slew her husband so he could have her. What he slew her, which is basically murder, right? And then after that, what happened to the first child of the woman he went up in? Huh? That the Most High deleted that child, you know, which is heartbreaking for any Jake man to lose a child, man, because that child didn't come through a holy union, and this is the ancient world. You understand? So then did Solomon build an high place for Shemosh, the abomination of Moab, which is a Chinese, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. Molech is basically the owl god, or the owl deity, which you see Drake have that image on his jackets, his albums, and a lot of these Edomites today, right, worship Molech, which is basically Satan. And King Solomon went off for doing that. That was the only reason, okay? Because we're in the flesh and we want to please our wives, and we do these things. And Jake does that today. In the kingdom, we won't be doing that because on this side, we've learned good and evil. And those Jakes are in the truth that have women of other nations or deal with Israelite women that are messed up in the head, that still worship Caesar Borgia or a Muslim or a Buddhist or whatever, or, read horoscopes and deal with all that nonsense. We just deal with the women and keep it moving. We don't really get involved or engrossed in their BS because for the most part, women on this side are with Satan. All right. Okay. Verse 8, and likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrificed unto their gods. And the Lord was angry with Solomon because his heart was turned away from the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, power of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice. Okay. And the Lord appeared to him twice, and his heart was still turned away. And the Lord is angry with Solomon because his heart was turned from the Lord, power of Yasharallah, which had appeared unto him twice. Verse 10, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which the Lord Yahweh Shemashai commanded. Okay? All right? You can read this, it's 1 Kings 1 and 11 onwards. All right? I'm just going into the multiple wives part and why, okay, if you are going to have women of other nations, you're not supposed to deal with their gods. In the kingdom, everything's going to be in righteousness, everything's going to be right. The women of other nations are not going to be doing this. They're going to be okay, honoring and worshiping Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, and during battle, for example, all right, I'm going to start with Deuteronomy 21 and 11, then we'll read onwards. Deuteronomy 21 and 11, and seest among the captives, okay, once they call it booty, right? Once you go to war with other nations and, you slaughter all the men. Okay, you keep the male children as for slaves, and you keep the female children for slaves and future concubines as they grow up. Okay, but the grown women that their husbands are eliminated, right? You see them, so and they're captives of Israel, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife. So if you see a fine Edomite woman or a Moabite woman or a woman of another nation, in battle, you can have her as long as her husband doesn't exist anymore. Obviously, he's been deleted in battle. Okay, so these women are captives, right? Verse 12. Verse 12, Deuteronomy 21 and 12. Then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails. Okay, so cut her hair short, cut her nails. Okay, and then once it's grown, once she's mourned and the hair's grown back to a certain level, then you can deal with her. Verse 13, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. Okay, even if the women are single, okay, or just been widowed, okay, you can take them. All right, so she'll bewail her, mourn her mother and father for a full month, or and after that thou shalt go in unto her and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. What do you mean you go in unto her? You're going to penetrate her, then she'll be your woman. Okay, and verse 14, and it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt not then thou shalt let her go whither she will, but thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. Humbled her meaning that she got undressed in front of you and she lied back and opened up her legs or whatever. You hit it from behind or whatever, right? You humbled her, right? And then on top of that, you can't sell her, okay? Because you'll make a whore out of her because she's your wife. But if you don't have delight in her, you don't want her no more. You're gonna say, okay, go your merry way, But you can't sell her. She can do what she wants after that, okay? But you can't not sell her. You can't make merchandise out of her. So this is all done in righteousness. You understand? All right. Yeah, let's go into Isaiah 4:1. Okay, and this is going to happen now because we're coming to the end. Okay, and a lot of women, right, uh, that don't have a man right now. Okay, because there's more women on the planet than men. Okay, this is another reason why men had more than one wife, because there's more women on the planet than men, and the Lord has designed it that way so men can have multiple wives. Okay, because having sister wives makes it easier. Man got 3, 4 wives and about 12 children. Raising children is hard work. It makes it easier for the women to help each other out with the children, take care of their husband, cook, clean the house, and all that kind of stuff. Teach their daughters how to be ladies. Okay, clean up their sons, get their sons ready, school them, teach them things, and the sons can be of a certain age and then be presented in front of their father, and then the father can teach them to be men, how to fight, how to do horseback riding, how to be a swordsmanship, martial arts, things of that nature. How can be a man, and how to take care of his. Then the boys can grow up to be men and take care of their wives and know how to lead by example because their father's showing them. Okay, all right. But in this time, the women, uh, have become evil. The woman has compassed a man on this side right now. So a lot of these women that are single, all right, in that day when trouble erupts, okay, when Jacob's trouble happens, a lot of these women are going to be looking for a man, and they're going to be coming to the men of the Lord, all right. And a lot of the men of the Lord, 7 just means completion. It could be 100 women, it could be 50 women, it could be just 7 women, right? But they'll be looking for a man of the Lord, okay? Because that man is going to have something with him. He's going number one, he's going to have that light. And number one, he's going to have the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. He's going to have the light. He's going to have the blessing and covering, pursuant to Psalms 34, verse 7, and also spiritual power as well when Isaiah 59:19 kicks in, and Jeremiah 51:20, the Lord will make him, into a weapon of war, you know, to destroy nations, okay? So Isaiah 4:1, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Okay? And some stupid woman was saying, oh, the 7 women is your grandma and your mother, your aunts and sisters and all that shit. How can they be called by thy name? How can your sister take on your name when if she's your sister, she's got your surname anyway? Huh? How can your grandma, okay, let's just say your grandma or your nan, okay, which is your mother's mother, right? How can she take on your name when she's from a different family line? You know, and it says, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach, to take away our shame, which basically means that. Okay, so all they want to do is serve that husband, okay, and they want to take on his last name, or he claims himself. Okay, you're my wives now, and they've got to listen and do as they're told. Okay, a woman's position is beautiful if she just behaves like a woman and stop behaving like a man. Okay, a lot of you women have so much in terms of resources today. You got beautiful. You might have a beautiful apartment. You might have cars. You might have a so-called high position, but you're miserable. You're old. You get used up. You've had so many numerous men. Okay, and your body's all used up and destroyed because of all the dick you've had, the cock carousel. Okay, women have a spiritual connection after sex with a man, and you know a lot of you women know that when you've had been penetrated the first time round, you know you're connected to that man. Okay, but then you sort of disregard it with this feminism shit. With men, having sex is just a simple release. Okay, we're not programmed in the mind like you women. You understand? We have the sword. You're the she. Our sword is designed to go into multiple women. That's the reason why we can make children into our 70s and 80s. You women, your eggs dry up at the age of 40, 50 years old. You can't have children. Obviously, there's exceptions, but for the most part, you women dry up. That's why older men always have younger women. Okay? And we create millions and millions of sperms in our nutsack, sperm cells, which means that we're supposed to be fruitful and multiply. How the heck are you supposed to be fruitful and multiply with one damn woman? You explain that to me. Which one is this? Oh, is it Isaiah? And in the kingdom, okay, one nation, a little one, Isaiah 60 and 20, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yashar, will hasten it in his time. Okay? How can a little one become, how can a little one become 1,000? You tell me that. With one woman. The only way that can happen is if one Jake has got like 500 wives, 1,000 wives, 2,000 wives, 10,000 wives. In the kingdom, we're going to have that. We're going to occupy, like the Yahweh Shemashah says, that in my father's house are many mansions. That's why Esau even says that the earth keeps it expanding. More planets are coming. More planets are being created. Why? Because we're going to populate those planets without people. One Jake could have a whole planet for himself with all his wives and children. That's how the kingdom's going to be. We're going to have eternal rulership. We're not going to ever die. Do you realize that? Hence the reason why we are going to be a numerous, humongous nation, and we're going to have many wives, man. And now you women, your brain's going to be right in the kingdom, man. Okay, it's going to be right in the kingdom. John 14 and 2. In my father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, if it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare. I go to prepare a place for you. And also the 2/3 that are going to die on this side, all the Israelites, okay, that are going to die, which is 66.6%. How do you think they're going to come back in the kingdom? They're going to come back to the loins of the elect men, the 144,000. Okay, that's 12,000 Israelite men of each royal tribe. Okay, and those men are going, those children are going to be back through all the Israelite wives we're going to have, as well as our lesser wives, the concubines, which are going to be women from all different nations. Okay, okay. I was just trying. Jacob had four. Okay, so Jacob had, so the 12 tribes come out of Jacob, right? All right, where the 12 tribes come out of Jacob's loins, right? So Jacob had two wives and two concubines. So ultimately, he had four wives. His wives are Rachel and Leah, who were sisters, and the daughters of his uncle Laban. He loved Rachel more than Leah, but he was tricked by Laban into marrying Leah first. His concubines were Bilhah and Zilpah, who were the maidservants of Rachel and Leah, respectively. So these two maidservants, like in the kingdom, a lot of our concubines are going to be maidservants to our Israelite wives. So if I've got, say, if a Jake, or if I have, say, 1,000 Edomite concubines, okay, each one's going to be a maidservant, or each could be a maidservant to an Israelite wife, you know? Or if you have like 500 Elamite concubines, 500 Edomite concubines, 500 Moabite concubines, 500 Ammonite concubines, 500 maybe, I don't really like Hamite women unless they're Ethiopian or some Somalian chicks, all right? The fine ones, of course. They can be maid servants to our Israelite women, okay? They're still your wives, though. All your wives, but Israelite women are your wives. Concubines are lesser wives, okay? So his concubines were Bilhah and Zilpah, who were the maidservants of Rachel and Leah, respectively. Jacob had children with all four women. Jacob had children with all four women, and they became the ancestors of the 12 tribes of Yasharallah, Israel. Okay? So we are allowed to have more than one woman. All right, it's biblical. Okay, it's biblical. All right, just wanted to touch on that. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. And if you want to see an in depth lesson on this, I urge you to go on to the Apostles channel, Apostles Street Ministry, any great Muslim channel, and they'll give you a deeper understanding into multiple wives. Okay? No Israelite man in the kingdom is going to have just one wife. Okay, you women need to get that out of your head. Yes, we're going to have women of other nations. Okay, and other women of other nations are fine too. We're going to have them. Some of you Jakes that don't want it, that's fine. More for us, Lord willing. Anyway, all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, Mawatha Bad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, Shalom.